First, this week's one-on-one and 10 with Minister of Defence Chris Penk on the new geopolitical environment, the Pacific, the need for a domestic drone industry, and are the RSA doing enough for veterans' mental health? Kia ora, comrade. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being available to the Fourth Estate. Your democracy is grateful.
Good evening, Bomber.
Minister, I'm pretty certain we predicted your entry into Cabinet last time you were on the show, so congratulations on your appointment. Let me start by stating I am Mr. Pacifist. I celebrate our conscientious objectives, I respect our anti-war history, and I believe passionately in Keith Lock's forever foreign policy position that New Zealand should be friend to all and enemy to none. However, I am also the only one on the left calling New Zealand to lift its military spending because I have eyes and no Kiwi can pretend any longer that the Pacific is a benign environment. You are the new Minister of Defence. Is the New Zealand military right now, capable of defending the realm of New Zealand?
We're capable of defending the realm of New Zealand in conjunction with partners, friends and allies, or rather technically an ally, singular, being Australia. We can't do it alone, and that's why it's important that we think carefully about the ways that we can complement and also be interoperable with allies and friends and partners, not only for the sake of the realm of New Zealand itself, but also those realm countries and our brothers and sisters in the Pacific who rely on us to some extent as well.
With two superpowers vying for dominance in the Pacific, our neighbourhood is no longer strategically benign. Who poses the most threat to us, China or Trump's America?
Well, I think there's strategic competition in the area, and that's no secret. I think that we have strong connections across economic and security interests with both the United States of America and China.
Yes.
And the analogy of the tightrope is not a novel one, but certainly I think it's a reasonable way of understanding that we need to balance those various considerations. And if we can be friend to all and enemy to none, as you and Keith Lock posited, then that will be a very good thing. But we can't be naive as well about the fact that we live in a world, in a part of the world that is very attractive in terms of minerals, in terms of fisheries. Environmental protection is important, as well as those military effects that we require a defence force to have on our behalf.
We are currently wargaming with America. Is that appropriate after Trump promised war crimes against the Iranian people and threatened to annihilate a 7,000-year-old civilization?
It's appropriate that we have training and exercises in conjunction with the United States of America and other allies and partners. Of course, it's also appropriate that we maintain an independent foreign policy in terms of any operational theatres. You note that we are not engaged in the Middle East. For example, we were not consulted upon military action there beforehand or after, for that matter, but we choose, in accordance with our independent foreign policy, theatres in which we seek to become involved in a way that reflects our ideals and interests.
China has complained over NZDF harassment near its airspace. Isn't that a tad rich when you consider China's flotilla of 3 ships in the Tasman Sea last year shut down commercial aviation?
Well, at the time, we commented that we thought that the interactions were not professional, and we maintain that view as to that interaction in the Tasman Sea of a year or so ago. In relation to recent interactions, I've seen nothing that's indicated that New Zealand Defence Force personnel and platforms operated in any manner other than a lawful, safe and professional one, and that's the position of the New Zealand government.
There are rumours that a Chinese submarine was also shadowing those ships. Can you confirm that rumour?
No, I can't.
We have an enormous economic zone. Drones are clearly the next generation. Why don't we have a domestic drone industry backed up by the state? Isn't that effectively Pillar 2?
Well, we do have a domestic drone industry. Of course, it could be broader and deeper, and we're interested to find ways through the defence industry strategy, which in turn flows from the defence capability plan, committing to an increase in our defence spending to the tune of 2% of GDP by the year 2032-33, and of course, drone, that is to say unmanned or uncrewed systems in the air, on the land, on the sea and potentially under the surface of the sea will be a major component of that. So watch the space in terms of procurement decisions.
So you're saying that this government, that drone expansion of the industry, that would be something you'd seriously consider?
Absolutely.
My grandfather was an officer in the Royal New Zealand Navy, so I have a soft spot for the RSA. The current schism between head office wanting more services for veterans and local RSA who see the social role they play as the most important service they provide has caused a lot of friction. What's your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, there has been some friction, and that's been a matter of public record. It's a non-government organisation, which means that it's not for me as the minister on behalf of the government to seek to intervene. There are ways that we can support the work of the RSA and vice versa, and I'm really pleased that they do that. So without involving myself in the internal politics of that organisation, I note that they've conducted a constitutional review, have made some changes, and I hope that they'll be responsive to their members, and I'm sure that they will. And of course, I'd take the opportunity in the week before Anzac Day to encourage everyone to support their local veterans through their local RSA by purchasing a poppy.
Amen. On the issue of the recent ruling against Veterans Affairs, our military whānau put their lives at risk. Now, I may not agree with the conflicts they're sent to fight, but sweet Jesus, if our veterans are injured in the line of duty, we have a moral obligation beyond cost to those men and women, don't we?
We do. We have a legal and a moral obligation. The legal obligation is contained in the Veteran Support Act, and it's been interpreted in a certain way since its inception, yes. 2014, a recent court case, as you've alluded to, taken by the estate of Tāwira Gardner, RIP, a great New Zealander who served with distinction,
yes.
Has cast doubt, or rather, for now at least, overturned the interpretation of that. And so we're considering carefully as the government what the implications for the delivery of services, including the timely provision of services. And so it's not just that those who are injured or ill on qualifying operational service need to get those services. They need that in a way that can be verified, and of course therefore a system that is protected for the benefit of those who need it most and deserve it, which is of course exactly what the system is designed to achieve.
For me, Anzac Day has always been a solemn moment where this generation promises the next generation that we will not waste the fruits of our youth and throw them into the mincer of war as we have in the past. For you, what's Anzac Day mean?
Well, I think you stated that in very poignant fashion. I think we can encapsulate a lot that remembers our military history with a view to learning those lessons, lest we should be tempted to forget them and therefore be doomed to repeat them. So I think when we say those fateful words at the end of the Ode of Remembrance, that we will remember them. There's a lot that's tied up in that to promise that we will work hard to ensure that we protect those freedoms, but also enjoy those in the present day and be mindful of the sacrifice made by previous generations that we might enjoy them.
Amen. And finally, Minister, it would be amiss of me to not ask you the following question. How's your boss holding up? Is the National Caucus fully behind Christopher Luxon as leader, or are they behind him to stab him in the back?
No, we're fully behind him in the proper and appropriate sense of that phrase, and so there's nothing to see here. Move on.
Thank you, Minister. We will talk again soon. Have a great Anzac Day.
Cheers. Thank you too.